chat with you about some things, and then I wanted to kind of talk to you about where we are on the Vermont thing.
Yeah, I didn't. They wouldn't let me bring my copy of the letter, so there's definitely some things we need to go over.
Okay, well, I've got a copy.
Who wouldn't let you jail?
Yeah,
Okay.
They don't like it when I
Leave with
carry stuff around with them.
If you guys want to chat about what you need to chat about, I can
Afraid of a paper cut?
Israel Keys, a serial killer so methodical that even the FBI admitted they had never seen anything like him. And what makes him terrifying isn't just what he did, but how he did it. Israel Keys didn't start out as a monster, at least not in the obvious way. Born in Utah in 1978, raised in a strict, isolated religious family, far away from society. No TV, no friends, no normal life. His family lived deep in the woods, literally building cabins by hand. They distrusted the government, the schools, everything modern. And maybe that's where it started. When he was a teenager, Keys began to change. He'd sneak into houses in the woods just to feel that rush, that control. He tortured animals. He learned to move silently through forests. And he realized something dark. He liked it. Fast forward a few years, Keys joined the U.S. Army. He was quiet, disciplined, and trained in weapons. His fellow soldiers described him as polite but cold. The kind of guy who followed orders but never showed emotion. After the military, he started a construction business. He had a daughter, a girlfriend. He lived in Alaska. From the outside, he looked like a normal small-town guy. The kind of man who'd fix your roof and smile at your kid. But behind that smile, he was planning murders. This is where Keys became different from any other serial killer. He didn't just kill locally. He traveled across entire states. He'd bury kill kits, buckets filled with weapons, duct tape, ropes, and shovels. Years before he even chose a victim, he had caches buried all over America, from Vermont to Texas. He'd fly into a random city, rent a car, drive hundreds of miles to a hidden stash, find a random victim, and disappear again. He told investigators, "I picked people who had no chance of being noticed." That's cold, but it's also horrifyingly efficient. Unlike most killers, Keys wasn't driven by trauma or hate. He wasn't trying to send a message. He just enjoyed the process, the planning, the control, the silence after it was over. He once said, "I don't have a victim type. I just look for an opportunity." He could wait months, even years, for the perfect setup. He studied police response times. He analyzed security camera placements. He tracked his own movements to make sure no pattern existed. It was like a game to him, a deadly game of chess where he always stayed one move ahead. He admired other serial killers, but criticized them for being too emotional. He thought of himself as better, more professional. He even described killing as a hobby. Keys confessed to at least 11 murders, though the real number may be much higher. One of his most chilling crimes was in Vermont. He broke into a random couple's house, Bill and Lorraine Currier. He kidnapped them, drove them to an abandoned farmhouse, and killed them. Their bodies were never found. Years later, police found one of his kill kits, buried near the same area. A silent piece of evidence to a murder no one knew had happened. That's how he worked. Invisible, methodical, emotionless. In February 2012, Israel Keys made a mistake. He kidnapped Samantha Koenig, an 18-year-old barista from Anchorage, Alaska. He forced her into his truck at gunpoint. Then, he took her debit card, killed her, and left her body in a shed. While he went on a 2-week vacation to Mexico. When he came back, he posed her body, took a picture, and made it look like she was still alive, so he could send a fake ransom note to her family. The FBI eventually traced his movements using that same debit card. Every time he withdrew money, he was leaving breadcrumbs, something he had never done before. It was his one mistake after years of perfection. In March 2012, in Texas, a patrol officer pulled over a white Ford Focus for driving too fast. Inside, Israel Keys. They found Samantha's debit card, cash, and a gun. It was over. But when the FBI started questioning him, They realized they weren't dealing with a typical killer. He was calm, cooperative, even polite. He said, "You got me, but you're going to need a lot more time to understand me." At first, Keyes refused to say anything. He told the FBI he'd only talk if they met his terms. No media, no leaks, and a promise that after everything, he'd get the death penalty. When agents asked, "How many people have you killed?" he smiled slightly and said, "I won't tell you that, but it's less than a dozen." Then, he started talking about one name, Samantha Koenig, the 18-year-old barista from Anchorage. He described everything. How he watched her, how he waited for the right night, how calm she was when he took her, and how he went on vacation with his family while she was still missing. The agents listening could barely believe the level of detail and how emotionless his voice sounded while describing it. As the interviews continued, Keyes began revealing pieces of his other crimes. But not locations, only clues. He told the FBI about kill kits he had buried across the country. Metal boxes filled with guns, duct tape, and shovels. He said there were at least 8 to 10 of them. He also said he'd flown to random cities, rented cars, and driven hundreds of miles, just to kill someone and leave no trace. When agents asked why, he answered simply, "I liked it. I liked the idea of doing something that no one could stop." FBI profilers spent weeks trying to piece together his travel records. Bank transactions, flight tickets, car rentals, fuel receipts. It became clear. Israel Keyes didn't kill impulsively. He planned like an engineer. In 2011, he traveled from Alaska to Texas. In that same period, a couple, Bill and Lorraine Courier, vanished in Vermont. Their house was found empty, their car abandoned. No bodies were ever found. When agents mentioned their names, Keyes paused for a moment and smiled again. He said, "You've been busy." That was his way of confirming it, without ever saying yes. During the interviews, Keyes revealed something chilling. His own rules. He never killed children, never killed anyone he knew. He targeted random people in random states to make sure there was no connection. He told the FBI he studied other serial killers, Bundy, BTK, Green River, and used their mistakes as lessons. He also said something haunting. "There's no one who knows me, or who has ever known me, who knows what I'm really like." Agents described their interviews as talking to 2 people in one body. One was calm, logical, even friendly. The other was cold and detached, describing his crimes like an architect explaining a design. He explained that he enjoyed control, not just over victims, but over the police, over the public, over the entire system. He once said, "I'm 2 different people, basically, and I only let one of them out at a time." Keyes traveled constantly. In every trip, he would find remote areas. He buried kill kits, and sometimes bodies. Then he'd fly home and act like nothing happened. The FBI found evidence that he had been in at least 35 states and could be responsible for more than 11 murders. But he refused to give names. As months passed, Keyes started losing patience. He hated waiting for his execution. He wanted it fast. On December 1st, 2012, guards found him dead in his cell. He had slit his wrists and strangled himself with a bedsheet. Next to his body was a blood-soaked note, filled with strange, poetic writing about death, ravens, and demons. No one could fully understand it. But at the end, one line stood out. "You will soon be mine." Even after his death, the full truth of Israel Keyes remains hidden. The FBI is still trying to connect missing person cases across the U.S. to his travels. Many believe there are still bodies that will never be found, buried deep in forests, fields, and lakes he once passed by. He left nothing behind, only questions and a message